Personal brand building, what is it and why is it so important in 2026? Hey, welcome back to the channel. If you haven't already, please hit the subscribe button. It really helps the small channel grow and will also mean that you won't miss any great videos coming out that'll help you to grow your business, your personal brand, and your mind, more importantly. So, personal brand, why did I want to speak about this? I was in a webinar recently with Daniel Priestley. Now, if you don't know who Daniel Priestley is, go and check him out. He's probably the most, maybe not the most prominent voice, but certainly a prominent voice in the online entrepreneurial space. He's incredibly well spoken and a fantastic advocate for entrepreneurs around the world. He's got some very practical, very pragmatic advice that I really love to hear. And if you're somebody who's wanting to grow a business, start a business, expand your personal brand, have a bit more of an idea of how the world really works, which I find really useful, then definitely go and check him out. I'll leave a link to his channel in the description below. Anyway, the point of this video was to discuss building a personal brand and why it's so important. And I was in this webinar with Daniel Priestley. He was hosting it, and it was to do with becoming a key person of influence. So another word, some people might say it will be an influencer. This is a little bit more specific. This is a little more, what would I say? For people who want a little bit more integrity. Becoming a key person of influence is becoming the go-to person in your niche, in your business, in your field of work. And it's so important because it allows you to massively increase your earnings, massively increase the demand for your services. It essentially, if you think of becoming, what is being an influencer or becoming a key person of influence or having a personal brand? What is a personal brand? Really, it's your reputation. It's your reputation, or it's what people think of you, what people know you for. It's the people that can trust you. And it's taking your reputation, which of course used to be limited to the people that you actually knew, and blowing it up online so that you can reach tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands, millions of people. And the purpose for that is, well, the best reason for that is, of course, making a successful business out of it. And when it comes to, so the difference I would say between being a key person of influence and being an influencer is that an influencer is somebody who might be really well known just for making videos. And so they've got a reputation for being a creator or being somehow controversial in some way. Whereas being a key person of influence is being known as an expert in your field, whatever that field is. And people knowing what you do, who you are, knowing that they can trust you, they know what you stand for. And you're known for something specifically, as opposed to just being known for being known's sake. And what Daniel Priestley was saying in this call was that we really, if you're wanting to build a personal brand, if you see it as something valuable, and I would urge you to consider that it is something incredibly valuable, then 2026 is really like the last chance that we have to get off the ground, because AI content is flooding into the market, into the social media channels. It's getting actually a lot of traction, so that social media channels or social media companies aren't that incentivized to shut it down. They are trying a little bit, but it's getting engagement, and social media channels aren't there for the social aspect. They are there for your attention. They are there to grab your attention and hold it for as long as possible. So if AI generated content is doing that, then they're happy with that. As long as you've got eyeballs on content on their platform, they're happy. And what this means is that when AI content is so easily made and generated, it can be generated way faster and in way higher volumes than normal real content, that the level of trust, which is already very low, is going to absolutely sink through the floor. And you won't have a chance to get your message, your content in front of people, because this AI slop will be consuming everybody's attention. That's essentially the idea. And this is well on its way. And so we're really at the end of the road when it comes to being able to build these personal brands. Once you've got the personal brand, people will know you, they'll trust you, and they'll want to watch your stuff. But when you're trying to get your name out there and your face out there, then you need to be able to be seen. And that's the hardest part at the beginning. So that's one part of it. Now, if you're wondering why I create content, for example, uh, you're probably not. But if you were, a big part of it is to build a personal brand, to be known for something, because when you're known for something, then people come to you. They want to work with you, and it doesn't matter whether you are the number one best person in your industry. If you're the number one known person in your industry, then you'll be chosen above the people that are better than you any day of the week, because people don't know those other the they don't necessarily know the best person. And when it comes to whether you should build, if you're building a business, whether you should build a personal brand or whether you should build a business brand, Daniel Priestley's opinion on this, and I also agree with him. He's little old me agreeing, um, but I agree with him, which is that brands, businesses, the trust of business brands is like through the floor. Nobody really trusts business brands anymore. There's a common held perception that businesses will lie, that they're trying to sell you something. And whereas that might also apply to personal brands, the perception of that isn't there yet. And so if you can build a personal brand as somebody being reliable, trustworthy, knows what they're talking about, knows what they're doing, and then you feed that traffic, you feed the eyeballs that are on you into your business by talking about it, by promoting it in some way, that's how you're going to build a successful business, instead of trying to build a business brand. So anyway, all of this goes to say that if you're on the fence right now about whether you should start making content, whether you have something to say, whether likely you probably have doubts about being good enough to make content or to talk about things. Firstly, I want to say that those are beliefs that you hold that are holding you back. They're not serving you, because they might be true, but it doesn't actually matter. There are people out there who know less than you. There are people out there that are not as good as at their job than you. They're not as funny. They're not as smart, and they're making way more money. They're having experience a far greater quality of life because they put those beliefs to the side and did it anyway. They got out and started talking about anything. But here's the other thing: personal brand. What do you do? What do you talk about to create a personal brand? You you are the personal brand. You don't need to try and find your niche. You talk about what you're interested in. If you have a business or you're starting a business, talk about the process. That's what I've been trying to do with both the YouTube stuff, my Instagram. I also have a community, which the link is in the description below if you're interested, which is also around the mindset side of things. You know, how do you reframe? How do you get limiting beliefs out of the way so that you can move forward and do this sort of stuff? How to communicate better with yourself and with others. And all I've been trying to do is create content on stuff that I'm interested in. Some travel stuff that I do, some of the interests, and I need to do more of this. This is kind of I'm talking to you guys about doing this, but I'm doing so because again, this is the focus for me in 2026 is building that personal brand. Because you don't make content to get views, right? You're not aiming to get millions of views. I mean, that would be nice. But if you get a few thousand views of the right people that really know, like, and trust you, or begin to know, like, and trust you, That's when you start opening up doors for yourself, opening up opportunities. That's when you can launch a business. For example, you might not even have a business, but if you start talking about the things that you're up to and people get to know you, then when you come to build a business or sell anything or do anything, it just becomes so much easier. And I think that it's one of the greatest tools. It's probably the greatest tool, generally speaking. The greatest thing that we can do for ourselves in 2026 is build a personal brand, build a solid, values driven reputation. If you do that, then your life is just going to get so much easier. And it doesn't require that much. You know, we can complain about how tough things are, and we can find the problems and the reasons why we can't do stuff. But equally, we can find all of the blessings that we have, the things to be grateful for, the opportunities that we have, and we can start taking the steps in the right direction. And it doesn't mean it's going to be easy, but it is pretty straightforward. Pick up your camera, pick up your phone, talk to it like I'm doing. Talk to it, share your thoughts. What was a challenge? If you think about like the last 5 years, the last 6 months, what was a challenge that you experienced, that you came through, and what did you learn from it? You can think, sit down and write, and if you have a think about the past 6 months, 5 years, whatever it is, you're going to find stuff in there that's valuable that you could share with other people, that you might be able to help just one person. And if you can help one person overcome a challenge that you yourself faced and learn how to overcome, then you're on the right track. You already helped somebody else. And it's also a great tool for feeling meaningful and on purpose and like you have value, is when the focus is on, can I help one person? Just one person can I help with overcoming something that I went through that was painful for me, and maybe I can reduce that amount of pain and suffering for somebody else. So that's just my quick thoughts on building a personal brand. It's super important. It's a big focus for me in 2026. So I'm going to try to do more of these kinds of videos, less scripted stuff, more just talking to you, sharing some stuff that's I find interesting, that I find valuable, the lessons that I've learned. Hopefully it will resonate with you. If not, that's cool too. If you want to be actually part of a community of guys, men and women, learning together, growing your mindset, um, overcoming some of those limiting beliefs about yourself and what you have to offer, then check out that link I mentioned earlier in the description below for my school community. It's free, completely free. So jump on there and check it out. I'd love to have you on there. We can have a conversation and yeah, go from there. All right. I hope you're well. I'm wishing you the best in 2026, and I'll see you around in the next one. Oh, and if you haven't already, subscribe. Okay, peace.